Hello everyone, we're Group 11, and today we will present our interactive group project. Our case looks at Unilever's possible acquisition of Essex, a sustainable beauty brand from Christchurch. In this presentation, we will talk about the main institutional, cultural, and market factors that affect cross-border mergers and acquisitions. We will also show how these factors may influence the results of New Zealand stakeholders. Finally, we will share our recommendations on how this deal could create opportunities while also protecting Essex's values and New Zealand's local identity.
Unilever is one of the world's largest multinational enterprises, where they are known for brands such as Dove, Sunstock, and Rexona. Its global strategy often relies on acquiring smaller firms that fit into its long-term sustainability goals. And another hand is a Christchurch-based beauty company built around reducing public waste. Its solid beauty bars and compostable package have made it a leading voice in sustainable personal care. These potential acquisition brands together a global company with major resources and local business with strong ethic branding. The deal raises questions about opportunity, risks, and the best interests of New Zealand stakeholders.
INTBUS was founded with the mission to reduce plastic waste. Instead of plastics, their products are made in solid form and packaged in fully compostable materials. Their identity also reflects a wider commitment to sustainability. INTBUS runs climate-positive operations, maintains supply chain transparency, and builds fair trade partnerships. They also work within New Zealand's trade laws, which emphasizes a compliance and community engagement. A good example is their direct trade partnership in Samoa, where they source fair trade coconut oil through the Women in Business Development Initiative. This approach ties local communities directly into their business model. By contrast, Unilever operates on a global scale. Its clean future and sustainable living plans ensure they go for acquisitions that align with their environmental and ethical goals. Examples of these acquisitions include purchasing seventh generation, Schmidt's Naturals, and Dr. Squatch, all brands that strengthen Unilever's sustainability portfolio. However, there are challenges too. Large-scale integration can sometimes weaken the original mission or authenticity of smaller brands, affecting the connection with local markets. But overall, Unilever's strategy is shaped by consumer demand. As the expectations for sustainable products grow, these acquisitions will help the company stay competitive while building a portfolio that reflects shifting global preferences.
INTBUS and Unilever, despite being different in many ways, do share a core set of values: sustainability, innovation, and consumer trust. These companies are pillars in the sustainability sectors, praised for their methods of resource development and ethics. Both companies see these values as non-negotiable, which lays a solid foundation for potential collaboration. However, challenges do lie ahead. INTBUS, with its emphasis on local trust, transparency, and a climate-based positive mission within the New Zealand sector, may struggle to maintain this unique identity once it's part of a much larger corporation such as Unilever. So, the real question here isn't whether Unilever has the resources to acquire INTBUS, but instead how this acquisition will affect INTBUS's growth internationally, and whether it can stay true to its local values while scaling globally. This presents an interesting challenge we will further be analyzing, as both companies look to grow while maintaining the integrity of what makes INTBUS unique.
The acquisition carries significant economic effects for New Zealand, both positive and negative. One of the most important benefits is the inflow of foreign capital. Net foreign direct investment reached $4.9 billion in March 2025. That shows how global investment continues to support the local economy. If Unilever goes ahead with acquiring INTBUS, it would represent other major inflow of capital into New Zealand. This inflow can create opportunities for growth, support government priorities around sustainable industries, and strengthen Netherlands' position as an attractive place for international investors. Revenue growth is another opportunity. Ethic generated 3.8 million Netherlands dollars in 2025. Earlier forecast projects as much as $25 million by 2020, which shows the company's growth potential even through not all forecasts were reached. With Unilever's global distribution networks, its established supply chains, and its access to finance, there is room for these revenue figures to expand significantly. This would not only benefit Ethic but could also increase New Zealand's role as an exporter of sustainable and ethical customer goods to world markets. But there are risks too. If we rely too much on foreign ownership, local culture can get weaker. A New Zealand brand could end up managed from overseas, and less value might stay here in New Zealand. Integration also costs money. Companies must follow New Zealand's rules and laws. Plus, some jobs might move overseas to cut costs, meaning few local jobs than expected. So, overall, the deal is complex. It can bring in capital growth and explores, but it also brings risks like less culture, higher cost, and job loss. We need to balance both sides to see if it really helps New Zealand's economy.
Regulatory risks are significant in this acquisition. New Zealand's Overseas Investment Office applies strict rules to foreign takeovers, and the approval process can be slow and costly. Even if both companies are ready to proceed, the deal cannot move forward until approval is granted. This creates uncertainty for both investors and the businesses involved. A delay of several months can affect planning, increase costs, and even weaken confidence in the deal. Etik's brand identity is another major challenge. The company is known for being proudly New Zealand-owned, sustainable, and authentic. Customers buy from Etik because it feels local and genuine with strong values. If Unilever takes over, there's a real risk that people see this as greenwashing. Even if production stays in Christchurch, many customers may feel that the brand has lost its independence. That can cause trust to fall, and once trust is lost, it is very hard to rebuild. Competitors in the sustainable beauty market could also use this to their advantage, offering truly local alternatives and drawing customers away. There are also employment concerns. On the positive side, Unilever's investment could help Etik expand, improve production, and create new skilled jobs in New Zealand. But large companies also look for efficiency, and that often means moving some operations offshore where costs are lower. If that happens, New Zealand workers could lose out. The community impact would be felt not just in Christchurch, but across the wider supply chain. This creates tension between the benefits of foreign investment and the risks of losing local jobs. Together, these risks highlight why strong regulation and careful brand management are so important. The Overseas Investment Office will not only check whether the deal meets financial requirements, but also whether it benefits New Zealand as a whole. For Unilever, the real test will be proving that they can grow Etik while keeping its authenticity, its New Zealand workforce, and the trust of its customers.
Now, let's look at market forces and how they influence this deal. In New Zealand, consumers place a very high value on products that are both local and sustainable. ASIC has built its reputation by strongly connecting to those values, which has helped it earn consumers' trust and loyalty. This trust is one of the company's most important assets. However, if Unilever acquires ASIC, there's a real concern that consumers may start to question the brand's authenticity. People might worry about greenwashing or feel that the brand is no longer truly local. Losing this sense of trust could damage ASIC's identity and weaken its position in New Zealand market. At the same time, there are opportunities in bigger markets such as the UK. The UK market is much larger and could allow the ASIC to expand its sales and reach more customers. But there's also the risk that ASIC becomes just another sustainable brand in a crowded market, which could reduce its uniqueness and competitive advantage. Overall, the key point is that consumers' trust and brand identity will play a decisive role in whether the acquisition succeeds. Protecting ASIC's authenticity will be essential if Unilever wants to benefit from company's strong reputation.
In spite of market similarities, we can't forget the impact of government systems, regulations, and laws on consumer behavior in both the UK and New Zealand. Ping et al. 2008 states institutional frameworks such as legal systems, cultural norms, and regulatory environments shape business strategies and outcomes. Both companies share the Westminster model, but in contemporary society, New Zealand uses a mixed member proportional MMP system, which is described as modern and inclusive compared to the UK's first past post FPP system. New Zealand has been often praised for its strong and inclusive governance, which adds stability for both consumers and investors. So, how are relations between the two nations post-independence? With the 2023 Free Trade Agreement, 99.5% of New Zealand goods can enter the UK tariff-free, which opens up a big opportunity for companies like Ethique to expand. According to the WGI, World Governance Indicator, when it comes to government efficiency, New Zealand ranks 9th globally, while the UK is a bit further down at 26th. This suggests that New Zealand has a more efficient and reliable system in place for investments and business operations. However, both are seen as stable and dependent economies for stakeholders. Given both positive informal and formal institutions between these nations, this stable environment creates a good opportunity for international expansion and securing investment. Furthermore, this allows Ethique to share their story of sustainability, expanding towards a wider audience.
Ethics' reputation is built on deeply rooted ethical conduct and a strong sense of environmental responsibility. This isn't just marketing, it's reflected in both the way the company sources ingredients and in how it engages with local communities. In New Zealand, consumers are especially cautious about the involvement of large multinational enterprises. There's a persistent fear that such acquisitions may dilute a local brand's ethical commitments and its connection to the community. This is why alignment with stakeholder values is so vital. It's not enough for a global corporation like Unilever to promise sustainability on paper. Stakeholders, especially in New Zealand, accept real transparency and ongoing climate-positive actions. Only then will consumers trust and the brand loyalty will remain intact, even though there's an organizational change. To address these concerns, regulatory agencies must play an active role. Protecting local jobs is fundamental. Regulators should require the acquirer to ensure regular and detailed sustainability reports, not just broad statements. They should also enforce conditions that guarantee Ethique retains a high degree of independence. In practical terms, this means that Ethique should keep its Christchurch base and maintain its mission-driven culture. Without these measures in place, local stakeholders may feel their interests are secondary to international shareholder gains, causing irreversible damage to both trust and long-term business prospects. In summary, the potential Unilever-Ethique deal is more than just a financial transaction. It represents a complex mix of opportunity and risks for New Zealand. Success will depend on how well ethics-bred autonomy is preserved, whether consumer trust endures, and if the company can truly engage with local stakeholders in an authentic way. Ultimately, financial gains from the acquisition must be balanced alongside ethical considerations, environmental sustainability, and the preservation of a unique local identity. If these elements align, the deal could be a step forward for everyone involved. But if not, the risks, the reputation, trust, and New Zealand's border interests are at risk.
And that concludes our presentation on Unilever's potential acquisition of Atik. Thank you for your time and attention.